Hi there. Welcome to the Schwowin's Nest. My name is Sandra. I'm so happy you're here with me today. I have some repurposed DIYs for you. These are things that I have created previously, didn't like, or they didn't turn out properly, and I'm going to just make them into something new. This is a farmer's market sign that had some produce baskets on it that fell off. So clearly I didn't do that job properly. So I'm going to repurpose this into a beautiful sign. I used folk art decor chalk paint in rich black first, and now I'm going over it with just a latex paint that I have at home. It's a white paint. I picked it up at the Restore, a gallon for 20 bucks. So I'm just using this as base coats for different things. So the reason I painted it black first is because the lettering Farmers Market was in black. And if I go over that with the white, it's going to take probably at least 4 or 5 coats to cover with a regular paint like this. I've also found that true with chalk paint. The black just wants to show through that white. So I've always just done it this way, and it's what works for me. Using the same black paint, I'm going to just paint the frame. I like the gray, but because I'm going to be putting a decal on this and that's going to be solid black, I thought it would just blend together a little bit better. I went to my Cricut Joy and cut out this Home Sweet Home decals. This is the first time I'm making something this large, and I really love how the lettering turned out. I'll have this available as a free printable in this size, so go down to my description box and click on the free printables link. This sign is fairly large, and I put the Home Sweet Home on the left side of it, so I have some open space on the right. And my idea is to hang this little pot with some greenery in it, and then I have the ability to change it out with the seasons. So what I'm trying to do here is pop off the handle because I don't want it. I don't want this pot to stick out that far on the sign, so I'm going to lay it down and squish it. So I'm just going to push down with my hands until I get it into more of an oval shape, and it's going to be a little wonky on the back, but that's okay. The front stays really nice. I'm taking a piece of foil and I'm going to cut out a section on the bottom so the lettering doesn't show. I really like this crosshatch pattern. My apologies for the darkness of the video. I think my camera just adjusted because of the reflection on the foil. I took the piece of foil and laid it up against the pot so I could get the angle of the bottom part. So I'm just going to cut that out and make sure that it fits. I just love the look of olive baskets, but they are super expensive. So I'm taking this foil and I'm going to cut the little slits in them like you see on olive baskets. I'm going to stagger them so they're not exactly underneath each other. They're in more of a brick lay pattern, and I'm going to do that all the way down to the bottom. I'm painting the front side of the tin with some white chalk paint. I'm doing this because I want those little slits in the foil to really stand out. I could have just painted this tin in a galvanized way and then painted on the slits, but you saw that this had a little floral design and I didn't want that to show up. Now I'm going to galvanize the foil. It is way too bright. So I'm going to start off with some gray paint, and this is just acrylic paint. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. And I'm going to use a makeup sponge and then just sponge all over to get more of a muted gray shade. Then I'm going to do the same thing with black just to deepen up the color in some spots. You're still going to see some of that shiny silver coming through, and that's okay. That's what galvanized looks like. I also added little bits of white, but not too much because it was already quite shiny. Now I'm taking a fine brush and dipping it in the black. And when I've seen olive baskets, usually the cut around them, those little slits, are a little rusted or they look a little darker and tarnished. So I'm going to just use this little brush and give them a little bit of black. Now that both pieces are dry, I can assemble them. I'm going to use a tiny little bead of hot glue in the center and then on all 4 corners to attach the foil to the tin. With the bottom, there was a tiny little bit of overlap, so I'm just taking my craft knife and I'm just going to gently cut that extra piece away. So on the sign, you will see a little bit of the sides of this tin. So I decided to galvanize about an inch or so into the back, just so it would blend in with the front. I needed something to be able to hang the tin on the sign. So I'm just taking a piece of nautical rope and I'm going to glue it on either side of the back of the tin. Here's where you can see the shape of the tin. It's just more of an oval now. And I'm going to be using these styrofoam balls. I don't have any floral foam, and you know what? That's okay. I'm going to use what I have in my stash. And I actually found that this was a better idea. It actually fit so much better into these small spaces and doesn't make that much mess. So I'm going to be adding some greenery. I have some of this asparagus fern that I'm just going to poke into the styrofoam balls. I have some lamb's ear and I also have a little bit of vine greenery. So I'm just going to go ahead and arrange it the way I think I like it. I'm actually not going to hot glue anything into the tin because I will probably change out the greenery for the seasons. To hang the tin, I didn't want to add anything permanent like a nail or a screw hook onto the front. So I'm taking a piece of buffalo check ribbon and I'm just using some masking tape and I'm going to tape it onto the back. Then I'll loop it through the nautical rope and then tape it again. And this way I have the option to very easily switch out my decor. I really love how this sign turned out and I think it's going to be a keeper. This next DIY is using this jar that was previously created as a dog treat jar for a Christmas gift. I removed all of the vinyl decals, which are super easy to remove. I just used my little handy scraper and I'm just going to clean off any of the residue of glue with 100% acetone. Using a couple of different apps, I created this printable, and of course, it will be in my link down in my description box on my website. And it says Wheatson and Company Wild Bird Seed. I'm going to cut this out and use a glue stick to attach it to the jar. I have been attempting to feed the birds here in Ontario. We have snow on the ground, and there's a few little birds that come around. They're called dark-eyed juncos, and they feed from the ground. So I've just been sprinkling out some bird seed onto my back deck just to help them survive the winter. They are adorable. I decided against using Mod Podge because I get way too many wrinkles with it, and I wanted this to look like a nice dry label. I didn't want any shine to it at all. Even though I have matte Mod Podge, it still gives it a little bit of a shine. I'm going to just press it down really well and it'll be good to go. I'm going to fill it with birdseed and display it on my kitchen counter right by my back door. This is my last project for you today, and it's super easy. Can you imagine in my house, I have had this napkin holder in a wood bamboo color forever, and I decided that this year is where I'm going to be taking all of the items that are just normal and making them into farmhouse decor, which is what I love. So I'm going to take the same paint that I used for the sign and just give it a couple of good coats all over. I went over to my Cricut Joy and designed a sweet little decal to put on both sides. It's this plate with a knife and a fork and a laurel ring in the middle of it, which is the leaves. I don't have a subscription to the Cricut Access, which is about $15 a month. I still go over to Pixabay where I can get lots of free images, and then I put them into my Cricut design space and create all sorts of beautiful decals and free printables. So as normal, I will have this little decal down in my description box as a free printable. That darn little fork was giving me some issues, so I had to peel him off separately, and now I'm just using a pair of tweezers to line him up and add him to the front of the napkin holder. I'll do the same for the back. Now that the decals are on and they're all set to go, I am going to distress this a little bit. I'm taking a chip brush and some black paint, and I'm just going to flick it around the edges like this. I'm not going to put anything on the decal or through the white in the middle. I just really like how this turned out. So I'll do that to the outside edges and also the inside edges. This turned out so cute and it looks adorable with some napkins in it. Thank you so much for stopping by to see what I'm up to today. If you're new to my channel, I'd love for you to stick around. Hit that subscribe button. Those two black arrows will show you exactly where to click. Stay tuned to my channel for some more farmhouse DIYs coming your way real soon. Bye for now.